Welcome back. Thank you for staying with KTN Prime. We continue with the deliberations right here in studio, touching on an array of issues that are playing out in the country. And just before the break, we were touching on the damning statement by the Cabinet Secretary Justin Muturi on extrajudicial abductions that are happening in the country, where he pointed a blaming finger at the NIS for abducting his son, an incident that occurred last year. Wakili, coming to you, I mean, the IG police failing to appear in court, is this an egg on the face of constitutionalism?
You know, I've said this quite a number of times. Let's be a devil's advocate for a minute.
Okay.
What is he coming to do in court? I mean, I respect the court. Definitely, the court has told him to come. He has to come. Mm-hmm. But I'm trying to be in Douglas Kanja's shoes. He has come on air. He has said, to be honest, my men are not involved. We are not abducting anybody. He has clarified that. Remember, this country has what you call multi-agency coordination team. That is KWS, these people in the forest and military, CID, the police, AP, all these people, they have a multi-agency purpose and there's a way they operate. Now, Douglas Kanja is telling you, I honestly am not involved. If we listen to the CS for Public Service today, he has leaked where he thinks this is coming from. You would be a fool if you actually don't listen to Justin Muturi, because he is in government today and he has been in government. As an AG, he's also involved in the multi-agencies, of the government to, for service delivery.
He served in all arms of government.
Exactly. He was a magistrate. He was, he's been, all this. So, what do you want Douglas Kanja to come and tell you in court? That, sorry, I have also learned that the person abducting people is this one and that one. How can he do that? And if he comes to court, there is no lawyer who will give him a breather. They will cross-examine him until he actually comes out honest. Mm-hmm. So, and who is this? If Justin Muturi is saying that the NIS is actually the one abducting people, and yet NIS has powers under the Act and under the Constitution to arrest people through the National Police Service, take them in, question them in whichever way they want, understand that these young bloggers are not involved in what we call national security. Okay. They are just involved in, even if it were to be a crime, they would be taken to Kibera Law Court, Makadara Law Court, Court 1, Court 2, even Court 5, and then they are simply, charged and even found liable. They are fined some 10,000, 20,000, and they go back in the street and do the same. So, who is at the helm of the NIS? Again, he's a lawyer. Mm-hmm. So for me, I think we need to take to task, and we will be taking to task the Law Society of Kenya, my society, to ensure that they both censor and actually deregister these people, because they are embarrassing not only the lawyers, they are embarrassing the country. And I have said always that this country is suffering because of the elites. We will never blame the youth, the Gen Z, the bloggers. This country is suffering because of the elites who are insulting the Constitution. So for me, yes, Kanja should come to court, but it should be obvious to everybody that let us take the blame exactly where it belongs.
Interesting. Just to probably add on to that, I think picking up from where you began, because we must not lose sight of trust and confidence. Because that is what the IG was actually saying. And if you look at the context of policing in this country, I think Kenya and Kenyans have gone through the most disgusting moments with the police. We have had reforms. We have had the most difficult policemen and women, some of them even being arraigned in court to respond to certain issues. And we have also had excellence awards to the best performing police officers and all that. And I don't think there would be anything wrong if the IG actually went to court. But again, the contexts are different, because the court has asked the IG and the CS Interior to appear severally before today. Why didn't they just appear? Because the summons were for the person and the institution, the IG and the Inspector General of Police. So Douglas Kanja as Kevin Osido, for example,
Yes.
and the executive director of county governance working. Those are two different entities. But just to make it probably quicker, is we must, as a country, begin to ask ourselves, what do we do to these people who defy court orders, particularly at the highest apex of governance and leadership? Can we have a cost for a no-show? Because I'm sure our Kili, there are charges, and there are costs to these charges. Can we say, for example, that yes, you will serve as IG for, is it 3 to 4 years? But when you leave for offenses that you should have been held liable, there is an X% of your gratuity or your payment that will go to the country. Because we have seen people, and probably not just the IG, even PSS, people just steal money. They are in court, they are still earning X% of their salaries. They walk away, they are, But the citizens never get that confidence booster.
Okay.
Like I can walk to a police station and, report a case against an officer and actually get confident that this officer, there's going to be action that will be taken. Because what you will see happening with this kind of actions is people will be saying, like we say in where I come from, "Giti anoneji," like utadu. So what? What will you do?
Okay.
If my boss cannot go to court, where under tu fanya, what utadu? We must see wakili action taken.
Yeah,
it might not be as Franklin says now, but how about now? Because
I don't want to answer you, but
Yes,
the truth
please.
is, like Kanja has said, he wants cooperation between the public and the police. That's an important statement.
Very.
And by the way, those of us who know him, historically, from the way he works, he means well in terms of we want to work together. But so what do you do when you're a boss, quote unquote? I know they're under the National Police Service. What do you do? And these people in the police are they spy on themselves a lot. They understand actually what's going on in the next room. So he knows. Kanja cannot pretend like he doesn't know who is abducting the young people. But what do you do when you realize that you are trying to go and help, but actually the person abducting them is either my boss or is my counterpart from the other side. So yes, and let me tell you, I saw like one of these judges is very serious. He can actually, and under the contempt of court, the judge can give any sentencing, any punishment. He can actually say that you deposit 2 million in court, you see. But of course, it has to be reasonable. So what is reasonable? The judges are reasonable also. You're going to punish this guy. You tell him to pay 2 million. But even that he's actually, everything is being, pulled from the back. And he's only standing as a stooge.
Yes, Akil is making an assumption that the families and our friends who are being abducted know the person abducting. Of course, we make presumptions. But that is why people are asking for justice.
Okay.
And that, yes, we are pointing fingers to someone. And that is why these people must be held accountable. Why did the IG Kome resign, for example? No one has ever told us. Would it be that, he was aware, he knew? The impeached deputy president, this issue of NIS is not the first time it's coming up. When he was making his press after His Excellency the President spoke in Mombasa, actually guns were blazing against NIS and NIS.
Okay.
Can we be told as citizens of this country, and particularly because it is our tax that is, being used, whether rightly or wrongly, but can somebody tell us what is the accountability measure here? What is really happening? If it is the president, because I already foresee a lot of, depending on what the president thinks, he might choose to be silent like he did. Of course, his hands being under the table, like he did with the impeachment of the DP. He can choose to just ignore this statement and say, huyo ni mtu tu anajitafutia vingine. But can somebody in His Excellency just come up and tell us, by the way, I have told you as your president that I will be on top of these abductions under my regime. He told us 2 years ago, will not happen, extrajudicial killings will not happen, and he's continually reminded us, I am in charge and we must stop this. But how come your name is now coming on the top? Can we see now conversations that are guiding us towards bringing an end to abductions and holding people accountable?
Osido, they have answered you already. Okay. They have said they don't want you to talk. All right. In fact, you are here by mercy of the Constitution. Okay. And probably they have not reached you or me. They do not want us to talk. We are doing this because of the Constitution and the trust that the people of Kenya want to hear this. But they themselves, in fact, the Sudi has told you that if he's given just 5 hours, he will finish you. So don't put too much expectation on the head of state. And that is what I'm saying, that you bring Kanja to the court, it's just going to be, it's like children are just fighting, throwing a bottle there and another one throwing. Let's look at it more democratic, as a mature democracy. We are not that mature, but we are mature now. Let's understand that, let's go straight forward to the person who is responsible for this. And as far as we know, the head of state has to explain to the country why our children, our young brothers are actually being abducted. We don't mind an arrest, but we are worried. What is so important about masking? I mean, why are you masking yourself and then taking somebody whom you can actually call by a phone call that you must come to Kileleshwa or Kilimani police station? Why are they being hooded? It's criminals.
And you know what? The net effect could be what we're seeing in areas of Mwea. We reported a similar incident equally just today in Nakuru, where Kenyans are actually taking matters into their own hands by intervening during questionable arrests due to that mistrust when it comes to plainclothes police officers arresting people without breaking down what exactly they're being arrested for. So we don't want to break down the rule of law in the country where Kenyans are actually up against arrests.
Jesse, don't forget this very important issue.
Briefly,
The most painful thing is criminals take advantage of this, dress up as police, and actually abduct you.
True.
And they kill you. I honestly wouldn't be bothered if somebody senior or the president ordered that I want you to interrogate so-and-so. I mean, those guys will not kill you in that sense, because they will then interrogate you, they will look at forensics of your phone, they will understand. Once they know that the farthest you go is to debate with Osito and Jesse, they allow you to walk it down. But criminals don't do that, you know. Criminals will, I mean, people who hate you, they will actually take advantage and kill you. So I think it is quite bad to use criminal methods to arrest Kenyans.
And that is why, without leaving Mukwanja out of the discussion,
we need to bring him in.
The people and institutions that need to deal with the criminal aspects, Jesse. That's why I'm saying the IG tell us something if it is criminals, because they have said these are not our men and not our women, you know. And if Kenyans wanted to hold on to these people and fetch them and deal with them, they would. We have seen how Kenyans have been very good to people and very bad to people again. That is why we are calling on the institutions to really take action. Part of this action, Jesse, is that we see CCTV videos, you know. And even if you mask yourself, sometimes I mask myself, but on the streets, not that I'm intending to abduct anyone, they'll just say, Kevin Osido, how are you?
You have to abduct yourself.
Kevin Osido, how are you? They are known, Jesse. And you see Kenyans now are beginning to stop them, and they are saying, Amutachukua huyu mama, you must tell us who you are. Can we have the institutions and the individuals responsible
playing their role? Okay, according to KNCHR, over 20 Kenyans have not been found after they were abducted last year, so it's definitely worrying. Mukwanja, before you come in, I just want to play a story right here on the developments that played out today at the Mini Hall Chambers in Nairobi during the vetting of former Kiambu Governor William Kabogo and the former Governor of Nakuru, Lee Kinyanjui, who were put to task to explain their suitability to serve in the cabinet. The ghost of the past allegations came back to haunt Kabogo, who was nominated for the ICT and Digital Economy docket, and he faced scrutiny over allegations linking him to drug trafficking and the death of university student Mercy Keino, as Lee Kinyanjui battled with accusations of dumping of street children away from Nakuru County when he was governor. Let's listen into this report by Jeff Kirui briefly.
Can you make it clear to this committee and the great people of this country who are watching you today, did you or have you ever been suspected or charged with drug trafficking?
Circulation is still happening. This is something I am bound to live with for the rest of my life, but I do not do drugs.
It was alleged. You remember, Lee?
Yes, it was.
That in an attempt to make Nakuru attractive and make it a city, you picked street children, some street families, put them on the trucks, and went and dumped them in Embobut Forest.
Mr. Speaker.
I'm saying, let me finish. Because you remember this matter came up in the Senate?
Yes.
And Embobut Forest was said to be infested with hyenas and other dangerous wild animals, and some of those children were never found.
Extremely wrong.
I have used the word very advisedly, alleged.
I also have many allegations about everybody else. So if it's about allegations, I think we can also come up with allegations. But
I advise you not to lose your cool. Just answer questions.
It's about my integrity.
The way they are asked.
We also have
Yes.
allegations, if it's about allegations.
Just answer questions the way they're asked. That's what Dawood asked. And I was making it clear to you because you remember this matter was in the House of Senate for quite some time. So go ahead and answer. If it is not true, even no is an answer.
Even me, I said alleged. I didn't say he has done it.
If you lose your cool, you will be unable to answer the next questions.
I have faced worse situations, but I just wanted to say I have my conscience, right? I can never do that. And the unfortunate thing, including at the Senate is politicians who are there. And the people who are sponsoring it today, I think let's also be fair. You can't call a governor to come and answer to allegations put by their opponent who have intentions to go to an elective position, and then use that allegation later against him. If there are people, this country has the best intelligence in the region. We have never said even one name. So I think let us also respect the institutions we work for. And I would say for Kenya and for posterity, the opportunity to serve in these institutions should not be personalized for gain. Because I was there, Mr. Speaker, throughout that period. How come only those people are known by politicians? Which family has ever come out? So I think it's good to be fair and also respect the positions we have. So in short, Bwana Dawood, that is an act of fiction.
Okay, interesting. That's what we saw today during the vetting of the new faces in the cabinet, those three gentlemen who will be taking over key positions. Mukwanja, what do you make of the vetting today? Your brief reactions to the CS nominee vetting by the National Assembly Committee on Appointments and how they defended their qualifications and suitability for the role?
Yeah, I watched briefly, and I have had the benefit of following that as well in the news. I think the vetting of cabinet nominees in Kenya, in my view, has the potential to uphold the principles of good governance as enshrined in the Constitution. However, I think it requires a consistent refinement, especially to eliminate political bias and also enhance scrutiny and build public trust. And this can be done by various ways. One of the obvious ones is that we need to strengthen the background checks. It would be possible to begin to have a conversation as to whether we need to establish an independent vetting body that can collaborate with Parliament in conducting thorough investigations into nominee professional and ethical conduct, because the ESCP and these other institutions seem to be simply rubber stamping, and as long as there is the political will to get this vetted, then you do not see the right records coming into play. There is need to promote bipartisan oversight. Ensure especially opposition parties and independent entities are playing a significant role in the vetting process to reduce partisan bias. And of course, the aspect of public engagement, we are not seeing more as we would expect that citizens have access and awareness to contribute to the vetting process through public forums. There, of course, is online ambitions and media campaigns, but that is not a level that requires. Are we focusing on meritocracy? Do we have post-vetting accountability? Especially the question of wealth declaration. when the CSS were reappointed, some of them were reappointed at the end of the last year, after the president dismissed the cabinet, arising from the Gen Z protests. You could see that they had exponentially grown their wealth, but there wasn't sufficient investigation into it to try to track how these guys have made this wealth. And in the post-vetting accountability as well, what mechanisms do we need to put in place to track the performance of their cabinet secretary, and also revisiting their ability if necessary? So the challenges around the inadequate follow-up, the public apathy and limited engagement, the superficial investigations, the partisan influence by the political class are things that are making this vetting only a formality and not a real exercise to make sure that we have the right people with the requisite integrity to recover some of these things.
Okay, Mukwanja, well noted. Wakili, as you come in, this broad-based government has given us a few realities. We've seen opposition members in government, some opposition members critical of government policies and opposing them. We've had ODM trying to find out whether they'll remain comfortable in the broad-based government or will field candidates in all elective positions come 2027. This is the reality we're in. So the general question would be, are we truly leveraging this political unity that we currently have to develop our country?
No, the answer is no. Jesse, you know that this was a selection. It was not a nomination. It was not a consultative approach to bringing in people into the broader government, so to say. It was not people participation, public participation. How did the president arrive at a name, and then bring them to parliament? And then parliament is William Ruto's men and women. Now you see Junet Mohammed is asking questions. Which questions are you asking? I mean, do you mean to ask questions really? You can see where Tangula is really trying to be hard on Lee, but that is all, in my honest view, comical. This is not a broad-based government. This is a select few who have agreed to come close and stay together. The principles of broad-based government would include, coalition building. You have to go to the Kenya Kwanza, now Kenya Kwanza is in power, so you have to go to Azimio and you tell them, we would like to have 3 people from your side. Could you please send 3 people to us? But that did not happen. This was just a selection, and you can see Edwin Sifuna always complaining that what is all this? I mean, we were not even aware. So then inclusivity, when you do these things, you want everybody to feel included. When you talk about broad-based government, you want the whole country to be covered. I have not seen anybody from, I don't want to say places because they will say, but I have not seen anyone from Nyamira, Kisii. Forget that. I have not seen anybody from Kuria, isn't it? I have not seen people coming from, these are the areas of Marakwet or whatever. I know that some are in government, but the principle for broad-based government means you want everybody to feel represented. You have picked Ruto's, Raila's people, and then you pick Uhuru's people, and then you say now it is broad-based. There is nothing like broad-based. So let's just brace ourselves for the hard times, Jesse, so that by 2027, and I don't think people should wait for 2027, because if you intend to run with a person called William Ruto and you are a strategist, you cannot let him cover a whole 800 meters, then you pretend that I will still catch up with him. In a marathon, the first team goes together until the end, and you cannot pretend that I am still waiting, I will prepare and I will actually win. It is not possible. That's why I think the best man standing today, I've said this before, is Rigathi Gachagua. These other people now, they are still way far back. They may come to support Rigathi Gachagua, but they cannot actually catch up with William Ruto. So the most important thing I'm saying is we should not be hoodwinked. There is no broad-based government. This is a select government for, the insiders.
Political class securing their interests. Osido, as we finalize, because we're pressed of time, how would you rate this broad-based government? Is it 4 months since they were inculcated into Kenya Kwanza? Is it delivering? Have we seen less disharmony in government policies? What's your evaluation as we finalize?
Jesse, from a political perspective, I would say the government is delivering politically because they are getting wherever they want to get. Those who feel that there is something that they still hold deep down their hearts will say no. Those who probably have nothing much to lose, they will say yes, even when citizens are saying, by the way, this government is not delivering what we thought we would get from it. From a governance and leadership perspective, Kenya Kwanza government, the broad, I almost said bread-based, the broad-based government is not delivering anything. And you see it from service delivery, whether it's education, whether it's from health, whether it's from energy, whether it's from budget process, whether it's from devolution. What is it that you can touch? Whether it's from manufacturing, jobs for youth.
Well,
you don't see what the president said that I have the answers for is not what is being delivered to Kenyans. And it is even much more difficult to rank and rate the government because if the head of government delivery unit, Dr. Ambaye, just resigned yesterday. We are told he resigned 6 months ago. Just resigned yesterday, Jesse. So, and he said so many things about government delivery. And then my good friend, Bwana Owalo, keeps giving us reports, this and that is happening. You juxtapose that with the Controller of Budget and Auditor General's reports. You go to the health facilities and you talk to people from every corner of this country, Jesse, and you ask yourself, so what is the government delivering? So I think that there are things that the president must do, and I think he's trying so hard to do those things, but I think he is really sweating too much. He wants to be everywhere. He wants to do everything. He wants to play Mr. Fix-It. So the government is really a fix-it government, but is based on a very shaky foundation. So the foundations are weak, and those foundations are built on very strong indicators of governance. And I don't think that Kenya Kwanza government has taken time to really, just step back and ask themselves, what did we really deliver? What did we really promise the people of Kenya, and what are we delivering? I don't think that there is a very conscious conversation that is going on, despite these fixes that we are seeing. Take Jesse, put him here. This Kevin Osedo is too tired. Throw him away. Everybody, So
that might sort out the symptom and not the
It will
disease.
sort the political issue, but it will not sort out the citizen-centric service delivery
There is
aspects.
actually no time for that.
Actually, yeah, this
Interesting.
is a political season.
If we had time, I'd be asking the governance experts in studio why it seems the Kenyans on one side and the political class on the other. Well, what does it portray in terms of where we are as a country? But that's all we had for now. Thank you so much for your input and sober analysis, gentlemen. I was joined virtually by Franklin Mukwanja, who's the Executive Director for the Center for Multi-Party Democracy. We appreciate your input. Asante sana. Kevin Osido, Executive Director, County Governance Watch, and Ishmael Nyaribo, an advocate of the High Court. 2025 has just begun. Well, the government says they have till 2027, so we should be patient with them. Let's see if they'll walk the talk. My name is Jesse Rogers. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Damian Evans. Have yourself a lovely evening and good night.